Hello dear friends, so today I'm going to tell you a story from the festival time fairy tales 4 in 1. The story name is Thumbelina. Once upon a time, there lived a good-hearted woman who did not have any children. She yearned to have one and prayed to God every day to bless her. At last, her wish was granted. One day, when she went for a walk in the garden, she found a tiny little baby girl sleeping in a flower. She picked her up and looked at her thumb-sized amazement. She said, "How pretty you are, so small and dainty. I'm going to call you Thumbelina." She thanked God for hearing her prayers and wondered what she would use to make a little bed for little Thumbelina. Just then, a walnut fell on her head from a tree above. Emptying the nut, she used the shell to make a little cradle for dear Thumbelina. Thumbelina was a very pretty little girl. She enjoyed walking in the garden even though she could hardly reach up to any of the green grass blades around. She made friends with the beetles, the ants, the grasshopper and the butterflies in the garden and danced and sang merrily in the bright sunshine outside. One day, she was playing in the grass. A big, ugly frog suddenly jumped in front of her and stopped her from going any further. She was angry and frightened, but the frog was charmed by her beauty and exclaimed, "What a pretty wife you would make for my son!" Even as she cried, the ugly frog caught her in his mouth and took her to a pond near his house, putting Thumbelina on a water lily leaf he left to call his son. Poor Thumbelina cried aloud in fear and desperation. After a while, some friendly fish came swimming by. "Please help me," she begged. "The frog wants me to marry his son. I must find a way to escape." The fish felt sorry for Thumbelina and quickly nibbled away the stems of the lily leaf so that it would float far away before the frogs returned. As the lily leaf floated away, one of Thumbelina's butterfly friends spotted her crying and asked Mr. Beetle to save her. Mr. Beetle carried her a safe distance away to his tree. He was very kind and hid her among the thick leaves of the tree. He fed her some honey and looked after her a few days. But how long could he take care of her? So one day, he took her to a nearby field and put her on a beautiful flower. Throughout the summer, Thumbelina lived there happily, drinking honey and dew from the flowers. She made many insect friends and sang and danced with him. But when summer got over, it was autumn. And then came the cold, long winter. The sun was no longer warm. The flowers lost all their petals and her insect friends went away to live underground. Thumbelina found a beautiful leaf to wrap around herself. But this too dried one day, and then she was all by herself, frightened and lonely in the cold snow. One day, as she was walking sadly through the cold fields, she met Mr. Mouse. "I'm so lonely and hungry," Thumbelina said. "Please, can you help me?" He seemed very friendly and said, "Of course you can stay with me in my warm house and share my food." He lived there every day with his dear friend, Mr. Mole. Thumbelina wanted to thank both for offering her a house and food, so she cooked for them and kept their house clean every day. One day, as Thumbelina looked out of the window, she saw a poor swallow lying still on the ground. When she went near her, he fluttered his wings and Thumbelina knew that he was alive. Feeling sorry for him, she brought him inside his home, fed him and nursed him back to health. keeping him all the time in front of the fireplace to remove his numbness due to the bitter cold outside. Once he was strong and well, the swallow thanked Thumbelina and flew away. Mr. Mole loved Thumbelina and told her, "I want to marry you." As Thumbelina had nowhere else to go, she began sewing her wedding gown. But all the time, with a heavy, sad heart, she was not happy at all about this wedding and longed to go back to the fresh air, warm sunshine, and beautiful green garden with colorful flowers and all of her friends. One day, before her wedding, Thumbelina stood outside the house and looked sadly into the clear blue sky. To her surprise, she heard popping of wings. It was her friend, the swallow, whom she had one day nursed to his health. He had asked her cause of sadness, and when Thumbelina told him that she longed to go to the beautiful green garden and the warm sunshine, the swallow said, "I am going to a warm country. Come with me." Thumbelina was overjoyed and climbed onto his back. Thumbelina and the swallow flew off and finally landed in a far-off field which was full of beautiful colored flowers, lush green trees with fresh grass and many tiny insects around. The swallow put Thumbelina on a beautiful white flower and saying goodbye, flew away. Early in the morning, as the flower opened, Thumbelina's heart leapt with joy. She saw a handsome prince, same size as herself, with a glittering golden crown and a pair of beautiful fairy wings standing in front of her. Seeing Thumbelina's beauty, the prince asked her, "Will you marry me?" She gladly consented. He gave her a pretty crown and a pair of white wings as her wedding gifts. At last, Thumbelina had found a house among the beautiful flowers, the sunshine, and the birds and the butterflies, and in the heart of a handsome little prince who loved and cared of her forever and ever. The end. I hope you like the story, and please like and subscribe to our channel to watch new videos every day. Goodbye.